Many of you too have responded and helped our clients in different ways over the many years. And in fact, tonight's recipient, she welcomed 2 young refugee men, one from Cambodia and one from Vietnam, into her home for several years and into her heart as well. So tonight, it is my honor to introduce to you the recipient of our annual Heart of Christ Award. For 34 years, this award has been given to champions for the poor and the vulnerable, to those who respond to God's call to perform the works of mercy. As Catholics, as Christians, and as people of faith, we know that there is no greater cause for justice or human dignity in our world today than that of protecting human life from the moment of conception. When Roe v. Wade was announced 50 years ago, Shirley knew she had to do something. She saw a notice in the newspaper about a meeting that was going to take place at Mary Costello's home for those who wanted to do something about the ruling. That meeting spurred Shirley to co-found Lincoln Right to Life. The very next January, she helped organize the first March for Life at the state capitol. Though hesitant at first, Shirley became a champion of the pro-life movement. Her legacy includes helping women through unplanned pregnancies by encouraging them to see God's gift of life and beauty within themselves and in their unborn children. Please join me in welcoming to the stage our Heart of Christ recipient, Shirley Lang.
Thank you so very much. Look at this, the Heart of Christ Award. Can it get any better than that? Wow, thank you so very much. But I want you to know I have to share this with my husband, Jack, because he did everything I did, only in high heels and backwards like Ginger Rogers. No, he always gave me so much rope, and as long as I didn't bite off more than I could chew, he was always had my back. For 65 years, we had this. He stuck by me no matter, and it was not easy, I'm sure. But he was so good with the boys from Cambodia and the boy from Vietnam. And we had 5 sons and a daughter, and it was so good for them to see. Here was this boy who had to leave everything in Cambodia because the Khmer Rouge were coming and flee to Vietnam. The stories they told. This was Kine now, how he and his mother, his father, and their little sister were fleeing in the night to escape on a boat. And his father and his little sister got shot and they died. But his mother and he got on the boat, but it was a farce. The guy took their money and it was a setup, and he ended up in a terrible prison. To hear these boys tell their stories about seeking freedom, to seek and get out of here and find a place like America and to come and live in our house. They were so appreciative. They were so, Does somebody have a glass of water? My mouth is just about flipping. But they'd try to please Jack. Jack was so good with them. Oh, he was so good with them. And his praise, that was their goal. If they did something good. I wasn't going to say this, but little An had dyslexia or something. He couldn't seem to learn very good, but he memorized a whole book and sat there and read it to Jack. Jack gave him great praise. I'm at the sink. I know he can't. But he had the kids read it to him till he knew it by heart just to please Jack. And when Jack told him, very impressive, I'm really thinking you're doing good, why, he walked off of there like he was the king of the world. He was so good with them. And Jack and I had 65 years, and he's here right here tonight, but he gets half of this because he did half of it. Because when I'd be out giving a talk on Right to Life, or I was going to a convention, or I was doing something, he always took care of everything. And He always thought I was the great one. He thought I was doing good, but he was handling a whole lot of stuff at home. So anyway, so here's to Jack and me for this. It's ours. It's our reward, not just mine. Okay. I'll tell you a little story about I wasn't going to tell this, but On was with us for a couple years. And then he went off with a woman to California. And he called us one day from California, and he said, Mom, I have a son. I have a son, and I want to name him Lang. And he said, I know it's a high name, but in America, you are my mom and dad. And so I said, well, it would be great, On. Name him Lang. So someday, somebody's going to knock at my door and say, hello, my name is Lang Ang Von Tron. In California, then Catholic Social Services called and said, hey, we got this other kid. He's on the street. He needs help. And his name was Cain. Would we take him? And so he came to live with us. And he was brilliant, just brilliant. He didn't have much schooling in Vietnam, but he went to school here in America, and then he passed everything. Not only passed everything, but he was into college things. And he's an actuarial scientist now, lives in Los Angeles. And his mother from Vietnam and her mother, he married a little Vietnamese girl. She's a lawyer. They live in this nice house with a swimming pool, and they came from Vietnam. And those mothers each have their own little chapel in their house. And so life is good. And so Katie always wanted me to tell you something about when I started up the Right to Life, the way I didn't start it up. Here's what happened. When I saw that notice in the paper that night, when the Supreme Court came down with this ruling, all of a sudden they just decreed. The people weren't asking for the laws on abortion to be changed, but they just said, 7 Supreme Court justices said that in our Constitution, our founding fathers had said that it was a woman's right to have an abortion through all 9 months of pregnancy. When he got asked, where did you find this right? They said, under the right to privacy. And they said, well, privacy is not mentioned in the Constitution. That didn't matter. And so it was a done. And I thought, oh, this will not last. No, this is America. This is a government of the people, and by the people, and for the people. And the people aren't going to say, no, this will not happen in America. And this is a Christian country, and we are God's people, and this is not going to happen. There's going to be this terrible roar across this country. But there was only silence. I think everybody kind of felt like me. Where do you go? The highest court of the land has already decreed it. There's nobody to appeal to. You can't go to the Congress or the Senate or the president or any place. It's a done deal. So I remember at the first Walk for Life, the only senator that came out to speak to us was John DeCamp. And I remember him saying, you are right. You're in the right. This is wrong. But it's going to take you at least 30 years to overturn this. And I thought, oh, no. 1 year we'll do it. We'll have this done. This is not going to happen. And it took us 50 years. And all that time, I was praying, please, God, let me live long enough to see this overturned. Let me see this black shroud taken off of America. Let me see Roe v. Wade get overturned. And I did. I'm going to be 90 in October, but I kind of feel like Simeon. Okay, so another thing I want to tell you about, we had a girl live with us who was pregnant. And her name was Kelly, and she was about 6 months along, and she lived with us for about 3 months before the baby was born. And then she lived with us a couple of months afterwards because Catholic Social Services was so busy with so many people they couldn't find an apartment for her, but that was all right because it was a dandy baby, a little girl. And it was an adventure. She married the guy. had some more kids. She joined the church, and all of her kids joined the church, and so it was a happy ending. So then, now, that I'm supposed to talk 5 minutes here, and I think I've already done that. But before I go, I want to tell you about being in the right to life. And we had lots of girls that had had abortions that would go along with me on my speaking bureau. When we started, we didn't know how to do anything when we started, and we had a little meeting, and some people came, and we showed the Wilkie slides and read the book and said we knew about stuff. And I'm a registered nurse. I knew about fetology. I knew this was the deliberate killing of an innocent, defenseless human being. This cannot happen. This is America. We don't do that. So anyway, I want to tell you this. There's so many wonderful people who have had abortions. They are so many times you want to put your arm around them and say, it's all right. It's not all right. That's one thing I want to tell you. If you encounter a girl that has had an abortion, and she might approach you with anger, and she hates you, but just remember this. Many people who are angry because they're scared. They're afraid. And so here's this girl, and she's shouting at you. But if you can get to her, if you can finally talk to her for a minute, if you could just say to her that God loves you, because they think they've done something so terrible. And don't minimize it, because the counselor did that she went to. So did the psychiatrist that she went to. Oh, it's nothing. And she knows it's not just a sorry about that sin. And so recognize that you realize. There's an old saying, she's not going to care how much you know until she knows how much you care. And if you can reach her to the spot where you can talk to her, and you will tell her that you're listening and you care, and then, for heaven's sake, turn her to God, because that is the answer. Don't be afraid to turn people to God. Don't be upset about talking about Jesus or God or saying, you have to be courageous. Say to her, God loves you. You made a bad mistake. Come back. He's waiting for you. He's right here by your side. Turn to him. Turn to him. Go to him. He will wrap his cloak about you and hold you close. And he'll tell you, I know all about it. I know every single thing. And I love you. And I want to erase this big black spot on your soul, and you and I will start all over, and we will be the best of friends. Just stay close to me. If you can get her to God, you've solved her problems. But there's books written by psychiatrists, books written by, I've read a bunch of them. Don't minimize what they've done. Just say you made a really bad mistake, but it wasn't all your fault. There's a lot of other people involved. You were so scared, and they are so scared. Once they said, a girl wants to have an abortion like an animal wants to chew its leg off when it's caught in a trap. But anyway, there you go. Maybe this is, just know that God will say, I love you, stay close to me, and it'll be okay. I'll take care of it. You and I'll start all over, and you're as clean as I'll erase the whole thing. So there you have it.